beef industry in California is one of the largest produced agricultural commodities in the state, but it's an industry full of misconceptions and questions that need answers, as well as consumers that don't exactly know where their food is coming from. So today I want to go over 3 topics regarding the industry: why the industry is so important to me in my hometown, how the industry affects California economy, and finally where the industry is headed in the future and how that's going to change the shape of the industry that people that work in it, such as myself, know today. So to give a little bit of a background on myself, I'm from a rural town in Northern California, about 7 hours north of here, and I spent pretty much all of my life around cattle. I've spent the past 7 years of my life working for a ranch in Northern California for one of the biggest ranchers in the state, a guy that owns nearly 3,000 cows and almost 10,000 acres in Northern California as well as across the Oregon border. So ever since a very young age, I've been around cattle. I've been learning from older individuals that have been in the industry since my age, and that have seen the industry change from what it used to be in the past and where it's going in the future. I've also spent the past 5 years showing steers for our local county fair for FFA, and this was really beneficial to me in the sense that I got to see the industry from a standpoint, because when I worked for the ranch, I was just a ranch hand, so I never really saw it from the production standpoint. But when I was doing this project, I was doing it, it was just me and this animal, and I was solely responsible for everything that was required to keep this animal healthy and to give out the best quality product to the consumer. I was also required to market this animal to the buyers and try to build up trust and transparency in my brand. Even though it was just one animal, it was really helpful for me to be insightful on the industry in terms of what it takes for someone like my boss who owns 3,000 of these animals to be successful and to produce a high quality animal to harvest and that everyone is going to enjoy. And I also today, in the present, I work for the Cal Poly Meats Processing Center. And in the past, I'd always seen what happened or what we had to do to get the animal into a healthy shape and in a safe and humane fashion to auction and get it off and sold. But I've never seen what happened to the animal after it was harvested. So working out here has been able to give me that final bit of insight that I needed to kind of close the gap on what happens after the animal, as you see here, is harvested, and what it takes to get this animal into something such as burgers or steaks or any other beef byproduct that we use, such as leather. And doing so, working at the meat processing center out there, as I said, it's been able to finally help me close that gap and see the industry as a whole from every angle that is known to the industry. But these 3 things of me working at the ranch and me working in FFA and here at the meat processing center, as I said, has been able to help me encompass the industry as a whole. I've seen it from the production standpoint when I was working there at the ranch and when I was raising steers for FFA, in the sense that I was responsible for everything that needed to be done to get these animals healthy and off to auction. I've seen it from the marketing standpoint, as I stated earlier, in the sense that I need to sell myself. Not only sell myself, but sorry, the gum stuck in my mouth. But sell my product, sell my brand to the consumers, and I needed to build up trust and transparency with everyone that was looking for product or looking for beef to buy at auction, and I needed to tell them that my product was better than the competitors for X, Y, and Z reasons. And in doing so with FFA, being given that opportunity, it was helpful for me to see the industry in that aspect. And then finally, I've seen it as a consumer, as a avid beef eater, I guess you could say. I've seen it in how the industry's changed in the recent years in terms of how social media has shaped the industry and how we have to conform as an industry to the likelihood or the likes of the consumer today, and how we continue to mold to what they want to see. But the beef industry is not only super important to me, it's super important to my hometown and my home county. So in a report, or in the Shasta County Crop and Livestock Report, which Shasta County is where my hometown is located, they stated that there's nearly 20,000 head of cattle in Shasta County, which brought in nearly $22 million in revenue in 2017. And to put that into perspective, that's nearly a third of our entire revenue as a county. So the beef industry is obviously super large where I'm from. And Shasta County is also home to the largest livestock auction in the state of California, which is said to run nearly 100,000 cows through their auction a year. And this picture here, just one thing to notice about the demographic of people. As you can tell, it's all older individuals. So you can see that there's going to be a lot of jobs opening up in the field, and there's a lot of people that are worried to take over what they've done because there's being, the beef industry is taking a lot of heat from consumers but for not being transparent enough. And so it's going to there's big shoes to fill for people like me that plan to be in the industry one day. But getting into my next point about how the industry affects the California economy, the industry, as stated by an article published by the California Cattlemen's Association in 2017, states that the industry accounts for $2.63 billion in revenue in 2017, which was a 3% increase from 2016. And I couldn't find any more recent stats than that, but everything that I found, it seems that the industry is continuing to increase in terms of revenue. And if we look here towards the bottom left, you can see that cattle and calves were responsible for the fourth largest in terms of revenue for the state of California. And if we look towards the bottom or the top left of the screen, we can see 650,000 cows statewide. And to put that into a nationwide perspective, according to Matt Schwab in the survey titled "Number of Cows and Calves in the U.S." published by the USDA in 2019, he stated that there's nearly 94 million cows in the entire United States. So 650,000 may seem like a relatively small number in that sense, but we can look to the bottom right of the screen and see that California is still the 5th largest producer of beef throughout the United States. So it's important to note that, as a nation, we're super diversified in where we produce beef at. And another cool figure on this slide is that there's 13,694 cattle ranches in the United States, anywhere from the intermediate-sized places like what my dad runs with nearly 200 cows, to places like where I work that had 3,000 and 10,000 acres of land, to even the weekend warrior guys that just have 10 cows that just like to do it as a hobby. But regardless of all these things, the industry is headed into a weird place in the future. For someone that's involved in the industry, I've heard the term sustainability time and time again. And sustainability basically means the beef industry is going to try to balance its environmental, social, and economic effects. And so in the article, A Review of Sustainability Enhancement in the Beef Value Chain, written by Fawn Jackson and his colleagues, published in 2017 by the MDPI, they state that to work towards sustainability, there must be more transparency in the industry and more efficient uses of land management. And I think what he means by transparency is I think he wants people to see more photos like this that show that the ranchers that produce beef, we treat animals as humane as possible, and we do truly care about our product. And it's not all just a money grab; it's kind of a lifestyle for us that have been involved for generations. And just to prove that we have been working towards sustainability, according to the Beef Is What's for Dinner website, they state that we've already became more sustainable since 1977 in the sense that we produce the same amount of beef with 33% less cattle. So that basically means that we're more efficient in how we harvest the animals and more efficient in what we use, and there's less waste and less byproducts that are not being used. So I hope all of you guys can take something from this presentation and be a little bit more knowledgeable on the beef industry and where your food comes from. And in the future, not look towards everything that you hear that's bad about the industry and try to see the more transparent side of things. Thank you.